Hello everybody, this is Jeremy Moskowitz, Group Policy MVP and founder of PolicyPak software, and in this video I'm going to show you how PolicyPak can manage and enforce applications that are deployed using Microsoft's remote desktop services, either using RemoteApp or through a full session. So to get started, well, let's take a look. Over here I've got what's called a Windows Thin PC. If you're not familiar with a Windows Thin PC, it's a variant of Windows that Microsoft makes available to Microsoft SA customers, such that they can have these walk-up stations. So that's what this is. This is my walk-up station here. And so if I were to log on as Fabricam West Sales User 2, I'll get access to my sessions. So here you can see the applications that are presented via RemoteApp. You can also see my full remote desktop session. Now, I've got another video on full remote desktop sessions. Hopefully you'll watch that too. But before we get started and launch these apps, let's go ahead and configure them. To do that, we're going to use our trusty group policy management console. So we'll go ahead and create a group policy object here, and we'll call this manage WinZip remote apps and RDS apps using PolicyPak. Okay, I'm just giving it a fun name. When you click Edit here, you can dive down under User Side, PolicyPak Applications, and then New Application, and we'll go ahead and pick our application. You can see we've got lots of packs. We actually have over 100 packs. These are just some of my favorites. Acrobat Reader, Chrome, all the Internet Explorers, Link, Firefox, and here's WinZip. So let's go ahead and pick that guy. So let's go ahead and dive into that, and we'll go ahead and pick passwords, my favorite thing to configure. We'll increase our security here with all of our checkboxes and set the minimum password length. We'll go ahead and hide one setting, and we'll disable another setting. And while we're here, we'll go to cameras, and we'll also disable that setting. PolicyPak also has built in the same thing as the group policy preferences. It's called item level targeting. And if you want to ensure that these particular groups of settings only occur under certain conditions, like for instance, when you're coming in over an RDS/terminal server session, these settings will only affect the user's experience when they're coming in over RDS. So now I've selected that targeting is yes, and I've selected RDS. So with that in mind, let's go back over to our Thin PC. Let's go ahead and run WinZip. We'll give it the credentials we need, which is Fabricam West Sales User 2, and we'll give it the password. And RemoteApp is launching, and what we're going to find after this occurs is that WinZip is being presented via RemoteApp and being managed using PolicyPak. Okay, so we've connected to the RemoteApp here, and here's WinZip here, and let's go ahead and go to Options Config, and boom, we can see PolicyPak is doing the work. We can see the minimum password length is set to 11, and these checkboxes are checked, and cameras is grayed out, and we've removed UI here as well. Now remember, PolicyPak has lots of superpowers. One of them is this graying out stuff I just showed you. The other is that if a user does manage to work around your settings, okay, the very next time the application is run, let me go ahead and do that now. The settings are maintained. So this is a huge differentiator between the way that regular group policy and group policy preferences works and the way that PolicyPak works. PolicyPak is always ensuring, dictating, and consistently remediating your application settings to ensure a consistent user experience. Let me go ahead and close this out, and let's do another one here, which this time we're going to do Firefox. But this time, instead of doing it on the user side, let's do it on the computer side. So I happen to have my this computer that is the RDS server, Computer 2, that's its name, hanging out under this OU called Microsoft RDS. So if I want to create a new group policy object here called all users Firefox settings via PolicyPak. Okay. This time, instead of editing it on the user side, I'm going to edit it on the computer side, and thus I will affect everybody. This is another PolicyPak superpower. We're taking user side settings, so therefore everybody who's on the computer is going to get these user side settings. So I'm going to pick Firefox for this example here, and let me go ahead and set the home page to www.policypak.com, and I'll make sure that that is locked down so users can't work around it. I'll also go to security and make sure these important security settings are always checked and also always locked down. I'm going to lock down these settings. Again, if I wanted to enable item level targeting to affect and make these configuration settings changes, for instance, maybe I want to set a proxy server when I'm on a RDS session, I can do that. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'll just go ahead and click OK. And the one trick about this is that because we're on the computer side, the computer that's affected is actually S computer 2. Now, if we just wait for the normal background refresh to occur for group policy, which is about 90 minutes, give or take, this would affect all users on the machine. But we don't want to wait 90 minutes for S computer 2 to get the signal. So I'm kind of accelerating the hands of time for this one time and running GP update manually. And now that that's done, what we'll do is we'll head on over back to our thin PC. And here we are, and we'll go ahead and run Firefox. Now remember, this is affecting all users on the via remote desktop. So if we go ahead and give West Sales User 3, okay, Fabricam, and give it a different person, we'll wait for Firefox to kick in. We'll watch RemoteApp present the application to the user, and then let's see if PolicyPak did what it was supposed to do. Okay, starting the RemoteApp and desktop connections here. There we go. And Firefox launches. We'll go ahead and say no to all that stuff. And we'll go to Firefox options, and boom, we can see the home page is set correctly, dictated, and locked down. And those important security settings that IT needs to embrace are dictated and locked down just the way we want to. Okay, so for the last thing I want to show you is instead of using RemoteApp, let's go ahead and use the actual RDP connection. And in this way, I'm going to run I'm going to connect to S computer 2 and get a full session here. Give my credentials, which would be Fabricam West Sales User 3. You just saw me use this guy. Whoops. West Sales User 3. Okay. And now we're going to get a full session at this point. And so therefore all this stuff will be coming down from S computer 2, the mouse and the video and all that will be coming from there. And PolicyPak will be ensuring that the settings that are inside the session for both what we saw for WinZip and for Firefox will be delivered and consistently maintained. And that's the point. You can make the choice. If you want to use item level targeting and say when they're not using a remote desktop, if you're using a desktop or a laptop, they get one set of secure settings. And when they're using a terminal server / remote app / RDS session, that they get a different set of settings. PolicyPak gives you that enormous flexibility. So here comes our session. There we go. And we're ready to go. So let's go ahead and run WinZip first, and let's see if we get the lockdown WinZip settings we expect. There we go. So we see 11. We see the 4 checkboxes checked. We see cameras grayed out. Excellent. And again, if a user tries to do something naughty and work around these settings, okay, PolicyPak is always working to ensure that what you set is what they get. If we go ahead and click Firefox here just to see what happens here, PolicyPak is once again ensuring the settings. So again, PolicyPak is working either in a full session, as you see here, or when the application is using, or when the applications are being deployed using RemoteApp. So if you want to check out PolicyPak for either these two scenarios or the full VDI scenario that we also support, you're welcome to get started anytime. Just go ahead and fill out the webinar download button on the right, and we'll see you in a webinar, get you the bits, and you can see if it's right for you. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.